What's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale, and today I have on the Hog expert again, returning to the channel, none other than Mr. SushiPayPay. Sushi, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Ash. Long time no see. I'm glad to be back on the channel to discuss more Hog Rider decks.
Dude, you've been the first time you were on the channel, a hugely, insanely popular guest. I'm really excited to have you on again, and what better time to have you on? I've been getting a lot of requests for you to appear back on the channel. Every stream I go into, every YouTube video I do, I get comments they want SushiPayPay. So here he is, guys. You are one of the Hog masters of the game. Certainly, you know, one of the few names I think of when I think like Hog experts. And let's start with, oh, by the way, this video format is going to be catching up on Hog, talking about like what Hog deck to choose. Whether you're playing in challenges, tournament level standards, or in your ladder or different level arenas on ladder. We're going to watch some replays while we talk about that. Then we're going to hop into some live matches by Sushi. So that's going to be the format. I'll include timestamps for you guys as well. So Hogs are insane right now. Since they got rid of the whole true red, true blue thing, it might just be me, but it seems like whether it's Hog Cycle decks or Hog Spellbait deck or Hog Three Musketeers, Hogs are like everywhere as a win condition or a secondary win condition. Do you think that Hog is at the best spot it's ever been right now inside the game?
I would say not. It's been better, but
Okay,
I'm not saying
all
it's
right.
bad. But yeah, let's talk about what you were talking about earlier. How we since True Red and True Blue have been fixed, how a lot more Hog decks are appearing. So what I've been noticing, especially at the top of ladder, is a lot of people have been using Hog decks in conjunction with another win condition, and because people are learning how to mix Hog decks into different archetypes as more of like a support win condition, I feel like Hog is really strong in the game right now in that aspect. As per Hog decks that are just solely like the archetype of Hog, just like a Hog Cycle deck, I think those also still have their place in the game as they always had. And of course, they've also been buffed as of the recent fix of True Red and True Blue. So yeah, I feel like since that change has been made, Hog has been a lot stronger than it was previously. And I feel like there's a lot more opportunities for people who haven't been playing Hog since the start to get into it now. I feel like it's a good time to start learning a deck like this if you're interested.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, one thing, there's no doubt about it, that the removal of the True Red, True Blue, I don't know, I guess what to call it, the mistake in the original algorithm of the game that created that abnormality or whatever, you know, there's no doubt that it's a buff to Hogs. But, like, is it overrated how much it actually helped Hogs? Do you think at all, or do you think it's a considerable buff?
I think when I don't see a lot of top players being like, oh, true, like removing True Red and True Blue made Hog OP. Like, I think how it worked is like, when that bug existed in the game, I feel like Hog was a bit like hindered in its abilities, and now that I feel like they fixed it, it's like where it should be. Okay. More like, I feel like it's a more balanced card now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You talked about people running like Hog as like their second win condition or on top of something else. So what do you prefer? Are you still like an old school Hog Cycle guy with the Hog being the main win condition? And when would you kind of flirt with the idea of bringing in Hog and another win condition? Does it have to do with whether you're in challenges, or does it have to do with where you are in ladder? Like, you know, what goes through your mind when you're selecting what type of Hog deck is right for you?
Yeah, so that's actually a really loaded question. There's a lot to talk about there. But yeah, I personally I would usually use just Hog alone, because that's like what I enjoy playing in this game. But if I were to use Hog with another win condition, my favorite would be the Three Musketeers, just because it kind of throws in that like beatdown spice into it. You're just like pushing down both lanes, trying to overwhelm them. So I also enjoy decks like that. As per when you would use what types of Hog decks, so I feel like I was just talking about Three Musketeers, I feel like if you're under-leveled at all in ladder, you should try to stay away from any type of Musketeer in your Hog deck, whether it be the Lone Musketeer or the Three Musketeers, because, as you guys know, the Fireball is going to one-shot that Musketeer if the Musketeer is a lower level than the Fireball. So in that situation, that's where the different types of Hog Rider decks are going to come in, right? So you see a lot of lower level people who like using Hog, they replace their Musketeer with archers, and the reason why they do stuff like that is because you're paying one less elixir for the archers, but you're not losing anything by having the archers under leveled other than DPS, because one of the prime features of the Musketeer, one of the reasons you're paying that one extra elixir is so it can survive the fireball. So if you're not getting that out of your Musketeer, it's not really worth it. So these are the kind of like things you have to keep in mind when you're choosing what type of cards to put into your Hog decks.
Okay, so real quick follow-up there. So let's help people decide whether they're going to be using Archer or Musketeer. So when you're playing on ladder, if you don't have a max Musketeer, do you recommend always going with Archers, or does it really just depend on where you are, like, you know, in terms of the rest of your level pack on ladder, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so if you're in an isolated condition, I would go with the archers always. If you don't have a max musketeer, especially because, you know, fireball is such a huge staple in so many decks that your musketeer is just going to get stomped out so many times. So yeah, I would definitely be going with the archers in that scenario. You could also use stuff like minions, of course. They serve, you know, sort of similar role, although they're not a ranged card. So it's all up to, you know, what kinds of things you've been focusing on leveling up in the past, because I understand a lot of people haven't started their account, you know, leveling up certain types of cards. So it all depends on that. You know, you can use minions, you could use the Goblin Gang even if you've been leveling that up. You could use the Mega Minion if you happen to have that at high level. So it depends. Yeah.
The same thing, same question about like maybe the Knight and the Ice Golem. Being obviously different rarities. I actually prefer Knight anyway. You prefer Ice Golem, I think.
Yeah.
Is that one of the other, you know, kind of changes that you can make depending on what level your cards are?
Definitely, yeah. So the hog deck that a lot of people use lower down that want to run a hog cycle deck is that they swap, like I said, the musketeer with the archers. Then, like Ash said, they'll also put the knight in instead of the ice golem. So the reason being there is because it's kind of the same thing as the musketeer, right? Like one of the prime features of the ice golem is that it's going to kill skeletons at even level. So especially when you're against graveyard decks or skeleton armies, if your ice golem isn't going to be killing those skeletons, you're at a severe disadvantage, especially because, as I discussed in the previous video, each of your cards in the hog deck has to fulfill all of its roles. Otherwise, because each card has its own separate niche, you're not going to be able to take down a lot of different archetypes. So by putting in the knight, obviously it's going to be easier to level up because it's a common card versus a rare card. But a knight, just like the archers, are one of those cards that it doesn't matter too much from level to level, because all you're going to be losing really is a slight amount of health, which isn't going to change direct interactions, and a bit of DPS. So you're still going to be able to, you know, if you are a skilled player, outplay over-leveled players by using something like the knight and archers.
That's a great point. What about the cannon, the one defensive unit? Very important card. I've seen people, especially even competitively in tournament standards and on the top of ladder, I've seen some people start to swap out cannon for either Inferno Tower, which is more of a traditional switch to help against beatdown, or actually Tornado. I've seen Tornado hop in that spot now, here and there. What are your thoughts on both of those switches, Tornado or Inferno Tower?
Yep. So I'm glad you brought that up. So I feel like Inferno Tower is really great to have once again for lower level. Although the cannon is a common, whereas the Inferno is a rare. The Inferno is one of those cards that, you know, if you get it locked onto that tank, it's depending on your level, it's going to be like, you know, plus or minus half a second when that tank dies. So it's not a huge difference from level to level. So yeah, and the Inferno is one of those cards that, once again, if you're a lower level, which I know most of the people watching this video are, it would be really beneficial to run in a hog cycle deck. As per why people use it at the top of ladder, it's very beneficial because, as you know, probably, Ash, there's a lot of golem going around, stuff like that. So having that, you know, heavy defensive building that's going to be able to burn through those cards is really beneficial. So let's talk about the Tornado now. The Tornado, I would not recommend if you are in lower level ladder. If you have a level 4 Tornado, feel free to use it in challenges, so at tournament standard. But if you're in ladder and you don't have, you know, all your other cards at a high level, I wouldn't use it. So this is kind of a unique situation, right? Because I wouldn't say the Tornado itself being a low level is the reason why you shouldn't use it. I would say how the tornado works is it's supposed to stall the cards while your support cards are shooting down everything that you catch with the tornado. So having the low level tornado is not going to be the problem. The problem is if you're trying to distract those cards for a certain amount of time and you don't have enough DPS shooting down, that giant or the golem or whatever you're trying to distract, the tornado is just going to wear out, and then the golem or the giant's still going to get to your tower. So unless you're on an even level playing field, I wouldn't go for the tornado.
That's a very good point, because you think about it, tornado seems like one of those cards that you might as well not even level it up practically. I mean, it does a minuscule amount of damage, although it does come in handy against swarm cards. But yeah, that's a great point, because you have to think about the DPS level of the other cards who are going to be shooting it down. So that's something that I actually haven't even thought of. But yeah, good point. So what about at tournament level standards then? Do you think that tornado is worth using for the cannon in maybe the classic 2.6 Hog Cycle deck?
Maybe Ash, yeah. Because let's talk about, at tournament standard, like I said, you're going to be on an even level playing field most of the times. Maybe one of your cards is, one level lower. But when you have the tornado, especially with the huge amounts of lava loon decks and stuff going around, your cannon's not going to be, that helpful against those kinds of decks, because they're not going to be able to shoot anything. So yeah, when you have the tornado, the reason why a lot of people have decided to switch to it is because, you can drag a lot of those things to your king tower, which is going to give you that advantage early on. So it's going to give you that additional DPS. And in addition, the tornado is going to be a lot more useful against, Lava Loon, because you can actually move all of that. You can actually do what the tornado is supposed to do, rather than, just placing down a cannon and just having the Loon destroyed in one shot. So yeah, and then especially with the prevalence of Zap Bait, all of these things, having spells that are going to do splash damage for you is going to be really beneficial in a lot of situations. So the cannon versus the tornado at tournament standard, I feel like it comes down a lot to your preference, depending on what you're used to. But yeah, I feel like that's a valid substitution to make, definitely.
Okay, yeah, and me personally, it's weird. I honestly feel that tornado is probably better, but I just haven't mastered the tornado. The cannon's so easy, right? You just want to avoid predictive fireballs and just use it. I mean, you know how to use a cannon, right? But tornado, I feel like it's obvious how to pull something to activate your king tower, but then it's versatile. It's a versatile card, and I feel like I just need to play it more before I feel 100% confident. Like if I had one match to win with Hog Cycle, I think I would still right now play cannon. Are you the same, or have you moved to tornado?
I myself haven't moved to tornado because of, just like you were saying, I haven't played enough with tornado to be like, I place everything on this tile to drag it to this certain situation. It's one of those cards, like you said, because it's so versatile, there's just so many use cases that you have to get familiar with in order to use it successfully. So exactly. I've been practicing with it. Yeah, like when I'm doing challenges, a lot of times I'll use the tornado because I myself, I want to learn all these new cards that Supercell's introducing. So I would say if you have a lot of patience, I would go with the tornado, start practicing with it. But one of the main reasons why I like to use the cannon is because of the 4-3 cannon pull. When you're trying to pull those tanks as far as possible.
Golem, yeah.
That for me is just such a strong position to have your cannon in, for one main reason. When you face those beatdown decks, almost all of them, a vast majority of them are going to have that lightning card. And one of the main things you have to keep in mind when you're playing a cycle deck, especially like the classic 2.6, is to protect your musketeer. So if you don't have that cannon, if you have the cannon, the player you're against is going to have to make the choice of whether they're going to lightning the tower and the musketeer, or whether they're going to lightning the tower and the cannon. They can't do both if you play your cards in the right spot. So if you just use the tornado, you're going to drag that golem, sure, but they're just going to lightning your musketeer, and then your tornado is going to be useless, right? Because your tornado is not the one actually doing the damage. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a very good point. Very good point. And you're right. And obviously, just the cannon, when you have that plant, it obviously will pull the golem or whatever, the giant, to the other lane. and then it's just nice to have your musketeer pick off all the supporting units because nothing like that is going to aggro that far away, you know? All right, man. So I'm actually run out of replays here. So do you want to hop into some live matches?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start off with the classic 2.6 Hog Cycle deck, and then after that, let's head into a new variant of Hog Cycle. Not that new, but Clash Bash actually finished very high with it last season. It's an Ewiz Inferno Hog Cycle deck. So yeah, so just got into a match.
Okay. So while you're starting off this match, tell us a little bit about your philosophy in the first 2 minutes with the Hog Cycle. Are you more aggressive? Are you passive? Or does it depend on what the opponent has?
Yeah, I mean, obviously at the way beginning, you're not going to know what they have. So in this situation, I had like Musketeer and Hog. So I just went with it with the Hog Rider. So and he just, he drops an Inferno. Now we can assume like maybe he's running some kind of Zap Bait deck or, so you can just get it like a lot of people say, get a feel for your opponent. So yeah, it turns out he's running Zap Bait. So
I feel like Zap Bait is, I feel like we do really well Hog Cycle against Zap Bait.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But yeah. This is not a bad matchup.
Now talk a little bit about, because I feel like personally one of the biggest changes I've made in my Hog Cycle play that's really dramatically I've seen good results in is basically, and it's a simple tip, but like I try to get way more chip damage with spells than I used to when I'm playing Hog Cycle. So like, do you agree with that? And is that an important part of Hog Cycle?
Hog Cycle, like I've said, I've written, a few guides on Hog Cycle. The way I like to go about it is you play aggressive in the first 2 minutes, and then after that, you've probably gotten about like half, hopefully a bit more of your opponent's tower down, and then at that point you can start like whatever they drop near their bridge, you can near their tower, you can just like throw a fireball at it or something and try to get some value off.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of like
speaking of an aggressive move, there you go.
Yeah. So kind of like what that guy's just did right now, just like play the poison, and okay, we got the hog over that. So hopefully that'll get 2 hits. Okay, nice.
Good.
Okay, let's hope he drops a hog here. Good. Okay.
Perfect.
He's gonna probably no goblin barrel.
Here's a question for you: where you planted that cannon, is that your favorite spot now?
The reason I planted the cannon there, that time was because he played the hog, really little to the side. So, because of that, I recognize that I can pull this farther. Maybe he would, try to poison it. And then if you place it too close to your tower and they poison it, that's not fun because they're just going to break through it really quickly. So, I don't think that'll, okay, barely got a hit. So, yeah, this is basically already won.
Yeah, the reason I asked that too is because one thing that I'm finding, especially after the elimination of True Red, True Blue, you don't have to pig push anymore. I always kind of play it safe, unless like you just did there, you see an obvious, drop of a hog that's not even anywhere close to the side.
Yeah, definitely. Like you were saying, is that my favorite position right now? No, because it's not gonna. Most people are gonna play their hog in the spot where it's gonna pig push, and then you always preferably go for the 4-2 pull, so one more closer to your tower. You can play it a bit higher depending on if you're trying to like dodge their spells or whatnot. So yeah, don't play the 4-3 against hogs anymore unless you saw that they play it off to the side, so it'll pull it.
Very important. Okay, want to do one more with that deck, or do you want to switch to the other one that you talked about?
Yeah, let's go for the other one, like I was saying. Cool. So yeah, so just got to swap out 2 cards real quick. So yeah, so this deck, it takes out the Musketeer and puts in the Ewiz, but to compensate for the more niche Ewiz compared to the Musketeer, in my opinion, like the Ewiz is a really versatile card, but like I feel like the Musketeer in this deck has a lot more versatility because of its range and such. So to compensate for putting the Ewiz in, we swap out the cannon for the Inferno. And by doing that, it makes a much a kind of more control kind of deck, because you got the Ewiz and the Inferno, 2 really defensive cards. So that way, you can compete more with those like heavy Lava Loon decks and those Golem decks. So yeah, let's hop into a match.
Cool.
Okay, yep, we're in. Okay, so I got, once again, really aggressive starting hand, so we're just going to go for it.
Okay.
Okay, we're going
And
to...
he does the same thing, kind of.
Yep. Okay. So that hog will get 1 hit. Mine will hopefully get 2. Yep, okay.
Sweet.
So let's... Okay, good. Yeah, so I didn't want to log that because obviously he's running Zap Bait, so... I'm going to hover Ice Golem in the middle right now in case he drops a Princess, but he doesn't.
So
Okay.
two kind of Zap Bait or Spell Baity decks in a row. How do you do with like Lava Loon against with this deck, with the Hog Cycle deck?
So like with this one, with the U as an Inferno, it's actually quite easy, right? Because you can kind of just like completely stop them in their tracks. But okay, good. He dropped that for whatever reason.
Interesting
Yeah. So
Fireball. Okay.
so yeah, you have the Inferno, right? And you got the Ewis. So you have usually what you'll do with this kind of deck, you'll plant an Inferno actually just like I have it there, like a 4/1 plant. So you make sure you pull the Hound and the Loon, and then you'll place like an Ewis far up with it, so they can't lightning that and the Inferno and the tower and just get huge value. So, but you'll place it like under the Loon and the Hound, so it'll stun it constantly.
Yeah.
And then it'll give your Inferno. Oh, that was off to the side, but it's fine. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, you'll usually play it more off to the side. So let's go aggressive.
Okay.
Probably scar me that or something, yeah. Okay, we don't have to worry about his Goblin Barrel quite yet. So I'm just going to tank that damage because the other side is weaker anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be a 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
Or 0-1, hopefully 1-0.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Bad Inferno, nice. Okay, I have a question, but I'll wait till this sequence is over here.
Okay. That was a lot of value. Yeah, what's your question?
Yeah, it was. Very nice. Okay, cool. My thing is, like, another element that I've added to my Hog Cycle play, I guess, is that I'm really trying to, like, bait out their counter to my Hog. Do you try to do the same thing, kind of? Like, not always send in the Hog and try to make them waste an Inferno Tower or something?
Definitely. Yeah. That's a... Oh, that was good. Okay. Still went to it. Yeah, so you'll try to... Exactly. You'll try to, like, fake them out, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time by like you'll play like an Ice Golem, and then and then maybe they'll play a Bowler or an Inferno on the other lane, and then once they've done that, like you said, it baits out their Hog. Oh, I haven't won yet. Okay, yeah, it baits out their Hog.
There
counter.
we go.
Yeah, baits out their Hog counter, and then you can go down the other lane. So it's kind of like that's obviously like kind of a mind game because if you're trying to like bait out their counter on the lane that you have, if their tower is more healthy, obviously, because you want to go for the lane that has less HP on their tower. So it's kind of hard because like if they see you kind of dropping an Ice Golem down a healthy lane, they'll kind of like think you're trying to trick them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'll do that a lot when both of their towers are kind of like even HP because then they won't know what to think. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I got you. And then you can bypass the Inferno tower that's placed on the other side. I got you. Mm-hmm. You mind coaching me through a match here?
Yeah, a live one?
Yeah.
All right, sure.
I'm going to be running like the 2.8 that I had. I showed a replay of it earlier, but basically it's just Hog Cycle with Knight and Musketeer and Fireball.
All right. Yep. Just tell me when you get into a match because, as you know, Facebook is really laggy.
Yeah, sure. So here we go. So I'm 8-1 right now, so I'm just about ready to start losing.
All right.
Based on my track record.
Let's hope not.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
All right, so I am in a match.
Okay.
So I'll start out pretty aggressive too. Well, I'll start out with an aggressive Hog, but I usually don't like to commit anything more than a Hog to my first push there.
Yeah.
I had Fireball, but I didn't use it there, so... Whoa.
I'm trying to find you. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, you can just go right for my clan, man.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they added that. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so I took a lot of damage on that first push.
Yeah, so you want to walk, because I didn't see that. So what exactly happened there?
He spammed everything he had in his deck at me after he countered my Hog. So it was Goblin Gang,
okay.
Hog Rider, Fire Spirits.
So I'd assume like you didn't have log or anything, because I would have just, tried to log all of that.
Yeah, I didn't have it. I just cycled to it.
Okay, at least you got it now, though.
Yeah. So
That was a well-timed log, because Bear got it just in time.
yep.
They
That
played
was a
it.
very unfortunate start there. Totally came on super heavy. But what are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
So I would just like
Yep.
cycle through right now. Um,
I
like
haven't
play.
seen a
hmm
spell from him yet. I don't think.
He has. I mean, do you want me to tell you? He is.
No, no, no.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
probably just missed it.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
we're gonna go. All right,
That'll get a shot off. Yep. Maybe two. Yep.
yeah, a little bit of late log there. I should have anticipated that. I should have. That wasn't a predictive log; it was a reactive log. I think I should
Yeah.
have anticipated that.
But yeah, so you evened it up a bit, coming back from the deficit at the beginning. So yeah, once again, you're getting into a lot of situations like where you're at reset with this opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So that just ends up with you, cycling through your cards a lot, trying to get through to another hog so you can put pressure on. So yeah, this is just like basic interactions. Maybe like try to vlog that faster. But like
Yeah, that was bad.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay, that was a bad princess by him. See, I know you've used the log, but sometimes it's good to take advantage of the fact that your deck is, a lot more cycle oriented than your opponent's. So sometimes you can drop like a log on offense, and just know that like they won't have the goblin barrel back in time for them to drop it before you cycle through to your log again, because your deck is just so much faster than theirs. So
all right,
yeah.
so here comes a push here.
So what I would have done there is because yeah, because their Inferno was actually placed one tile too low, you could have gone just like try to pig push past the Inferno tower because it was placed one tile too far back. So then you would have just bypassed the Inferno entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but that sucked. I'll show you the beginning there.
Yeah.
It was really, I mean, let me show you. Let me share the replay.
Okay.
Let's see. Yes, the very beginning there, it was just, bad reaction time on my part, and he just clobbered me.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Yeah, at the beginning, I would have, because he had like a hog and a goblin gang like all clumped up there. I would have like tried a fireball, but like push the hog back, but while also killing the goblin gang.
Okay.
So that way you would give your musketeer that you place more time to deal with the hog, while also just completely killing the goblin gang, which got off a ton of damage on your tower.
Yeah. Okay, and from there on out, it was really it was tough to make the comeback there. But yeah, definitely good advice. Any parting words or anything before we let you go today, Sushi?
Not much. I would just say one thing. So for lower level players, yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you're trying to go with a Hog Cycle deck, I would recommend the Knight Archer version for the reasons we went over at the beginning of the video. But keep in mind, running that version of the deck, you're going to be really vulnerable to basically just like Lava Hound decks and Loon decks, because your archers are your main counter. But, I feel like that sacrifice is worth it given the benefits you get from switching. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah,
You okay? You get passionate. You get very passionate about these
Yeah,
Hog Cycle decks.
Yeah, Hog Cycle decks. Ooh. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah. So that's my recommendation.
All right, man. Well, dude, thanks so much for coming on. Congratulations on the continued success. Have you thought about like streaming or YouTubing or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, Hazard keeps telling me I need to start streaming. So maybe this summer I'll have a bit more time. Maybe we can start up a stream. Maybe.
Awesome.
Nothing confirmed, but yeah, a lot of people have been asking. Hazard's been asking me to do it, so we'll see.
All right,
Yep.
cool. And do you mind if people reach out to you on Twitter if they have any questions on Hog Cycle or anything like that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nice.
My Twitter handles, just SushiPayPay. So yeah.
Sweet. All right, Sushi, thanks again for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Have a nice day, Ash.
You too. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to my guest, SushiPayPay, and thank you to my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. Check out his information in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and as always, take care, guys.